back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Hiba, and here on my channel I discuss recent missing person cases. If you're into that type of content, go ahead and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Today I'd like to talk about Daniel Deshawn Brown. I believe that he also goes by Note or Dan, so that's what I'll be calling him for the rest of this video. Dan is a 35-year-old father of 3. According to those that know him, he is an excellent father. He has his own business and is an aspiring artist. From what I've seen, everyone has only good things to say about him. He's described as having a heart of gold and is someone who's there when you need him. This is evidenced by the fact that he helps people battling cancer pay their rent. Unfortunately, Dan has been missing from Houston, Texas since January 25th, 2022. It's not very clear what Dan did that day. Like many other recent cases, there haven't been too many details released. On top of that, the stories given by the last people to see Dan aren't adding up. Sources claim that Dan headed to the airport to pick someone up. I'm not sure who that friend is or if this is even true. According to investigators, though, Dan was last seen near the 5000 block of Washington Avenue. I'll include a map and some images here so you have an idea of the area. It's described as being a lively area with various restaurants and entertainment. However, as we know, Dan never made it back home. He hasn't spoken to loved ones since, which is completely out of character. According to his mother, the two spoke every day. He also wouldn't leave his sons behind, so needless to say, his family was immediately worried. The following day, Dan's vehicle was discovered near the 3rd Ward. However, like I mentioned earlier, he was last seen near the 5000 block of Washington Avenue. This is about 7 miles away from where his car was located. His phone was also located in the Washington Avenue area, and it was in the possession of a homeless person. It's not clear how they obtained the phone. So how did Dan end up 7 miles away from where his car was found? Frustrated with the lack of urgency displayed by the Houston PD and wanting to find Dan, the family began to investigate and talk to people themselves. It turns out that Dan was last seen by a few acquaintances, specifically a man named Chaz Dawson and another man named Trayvon Tellis. I'm not sure if these were the men that Dan was picking up, but his car was parked near Trayvon's home. Chaz and Trayvon told different stories of what happened that night. One of the men claims that he dropped Dan off at a nightclub called Heart. The other man claims that he dropped Dan off at an apartment complex. So which is it? Who was the one to drop him off? And why lie? According to Dan's family, he had previously lent or invested money in these men's new business venture, which could have been a scam. Dan may have wanted compensation or his money back, and that could have resulted in some sort of altercation. The details aren't clear, but his family don't believe the narrative put forth by the two men. They think that there's more to the story, and that there could also be others involved. I'm going to include a clip of Dan's mother speaking on the situation.
And I'm doing it because I need Dan home. I don't know what narrative they can spin, but what I've been asking them to do for almost 2 weeks now. We've done a lot of investigations. I thank everybody that's been helping with it. I've looked at a few bodies. None of them are Dan. Praise God for that. However, the narrative that I think they're trying to spin is one that one of the guys that took Dan, that had something to do with his disappearance, is giving. There are more people involved, and I'm going to post that as well. And basically, what happened was they lured Dan to a place, to Trellis House, and once they lured him there, they put him in another car. Whatever they did to him, they put him in another car. And from that car, they did something with him. They gave false information. Everything that they've given has been false. I've seen video footage. They staged a car to say that Daniel was in that car. And the car stayed. It pulled up, stayed for 15 minutes and pulled off with no activity. I want my child home. I want my son. And I'm saying this because one of the guys, I think, came in and gave a statement to say that Daniel had enemies. I haven't seen any enemies on Dan's feeds.
Based on the video, I wonder if Dan was for sure in the area his phone was found. How exactly was it verified that he was dropped off on Washington Avenue? Did police see one of the men's cars in the area and believe that he was dropped off? Is it possible that one of the men pretended to be Dan and got out of the car? Unfortunately, surveillance footage isn't always the best quality, so it may be difficult to make out who got out, especially if they're similar in height, weight, etc. If this is the case, his phone could have been discarded there to make it seem like he was actually in the area. But if Dan was never dropped off, what actually happened? Did something happen on their way to drop him off? If he was actually dropped off in that area, what happened next? I would hope that his movements can be tracked with so many businesses around. Did he get picked up by the men later, since we know he didn't have his car? Did he have a run-in with someone else? Ultimately, there aren't enough details to really know what happened. I don't believe that he would just up and leave and toss his phone out in a random area. In my opinion, it seems like the men are hiding something based on their differing accounts of what happened that night. I also want to mention that one of these men made this post on Instagram within hours of seeing Dan. I think the timing is odd and that it could be telling of what happened that night. Maybe they saw Dan as an enemy since he wanted to pull out of their business venture. Regardless of what happened, Dan's family is devastated. His kids are constantly asking for him, and his mother has had to view several bodies to make sure that it isn't her son. It's honestly a nightmare, and I hope God continues to give them strength during this incredibly difficult time. Dan is 5'10" and weighs approximately 220 pounds. He has brown eyes and black hair. He was last seen wearing a green tracksuit. The family has offered a $50,000 reward for information leading to Dan's safe return. If you know anything, please call the number in the description below. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Daniel's story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.